Picture this. It's a foggy night in Portsmouth. The air is damp and heavy, clinging to your skin like a cold sweat. Silence presses in from all sides, broken only by the occasional groan of timber. A sound that shouldn't be coming from an empty house. Shadows slither across the ground, shifting as though something unseen stirs within them. Welcome to Wymering Manor, a house that's as much alive as the restless spirits trapped within its walls. This is not your typical haunted house. It doesn't just rattle chains or slam doors for effect. Wymering Manor crawls under your skin. Its history seeps into you like a poison. Every creak, every whisper, every icy draft is a reminder that the past has not been buried, and it has no intention of being forgotten. The oldest house within the darkest secrets. Wymering Manor is no ordinary historical landmark. It's one of the oldest buildings in Portsmouth, its roots stretching back to the 16th century, or perhaps even earlier, depending on which records you believed. Its history is as tangled and gnarled as the trees surrounding it, casting long clawed shadows over its crooked facade. But Wymering isn't just an old house. It's a hungry one. Its walls feel like they're listening, its floors groan as if bearing the weight of unseen footsteps, and its air is suffused with a heaviness that makes it hard to breathe. They said houses absorb the energy of the lives lived within them. If that's true, Wymering Manor has devoured centuries of fear, violence and death, and it's still ravenous. Welcome to the channel, everyone. One of the manor's most infamous spirits is Reckless Roddy, a knight whose story is steeped in scandal and blood. Roddy was a man of charm and arrogance, a seducer who revelled in conquest, whether on the battlefield or in the bedroom. One fateful night, he turned his attention to a young bride who had the misfortune of catching his eye. She was newly married, her vows still fresh, but Roddy didn't care. He pursued her with reckless abandon, cornering her within the manor's shadowy halls. Her husband, a man fueled by jealous rage, caught wind of Roddy's intentions and ended his life in a violent confrontation. Some say it was a blade to the gut, others claim it was a blunt instrument that shattered Roddy's skull. Whatever the truth, his death was brutal and far from the end. To this day, Reckless Roddy's spirit haunts Wymering Manor. Guests have reported the eerie sound of phantom hooves clattering through the halls, a spectral horse galloping upstairs where no animal should ever tread. Others have heard the heavy clank of armour echoing in the dead of night, accompanied by a bone-chilling cold that creeps through the corridors like a predator stalking its prey. The Bloody Nun, a nightmare in the shadows. If Reckless Roddy's tale sent shivers down your spine, brace yourself for the Bloody Nun. Her story is darker, her presence far more unsettling. This tortured spirit is said to be the ghost of a nun who met a gruesome end within the manor's ancient walls. The details of her death are shrouded in mystery. Some say she was the victim of a violent murder, her blood soaking the very stones of the building. Others whisper that she took her own life, consumed by despair over a forbidden love, one that defied the vows she had taken. Those who have encountered the Bloody Nun describe a shadowy figure with a tattered habit, her face obscured by her sorrow palpable. She lurks in the corners of rooms, her anguished cries slicing through the silence like a knife. Witnesses who've dared to meet her gaze speak of hollow, lifeless eyes that seem to pierce through their very souls, leaving behind a sense of dread that lingers for days. The children of the manor, innocence lost. Wymering Manor isn't just haunted by adult tragedies, it's also home to the echoes of lost innocence. Visitors often hear the eerie laughter of ghostly children, their giggles bouncing through the halls like a cruel mockery of life. But don't let the sound fool you. There's nothing innocent about their presence. Some guests have felt tiny, icy hands tugging at their clothes, as if playful spirits were trying to pull them deeper into the house. Others have seen fleeting shadows dart across doorways or down staircases, only to vanish when pursued. Who were these children? No one knows for sure. Perhaps they were victims of a long forgotten tragedy, their lives snuffed out by disease or violence. Or maybe they were simply children who lived and died here centuries ago, their spirits unwilling or unable to move on. Whatever their origin, their playful antics carry an undercurrent of sadness that leaves a heavy weight on the heart. The unseen watchers rise in the darkness. The true terror of Wymering Manor lies in its ability to make you feel watched. Countless visitors have reported waking in the middle of the night, drenched in cold sweats, convinced that something is staring at them from the darkness. Some describe the sensation of unseen eyes tracking their every move, while others have actually seen dark figures standing at the foot of their beds. These shadowy watchers never move, never speak. They simply stand there, their presence suffocating. A house that refuses to be silent. Wymering Manor is alive in a way that no house should be. Its timber creaks and groans with a voice of its own, as if it's whispering secrets too dark to share outright. Candles extinguish themselves without warning, leaving rooms cloaked in an unnatural darkness. Cold spots seem to follow you as you move, brushing against your skin like the icy fingers of a ghost. And then there's the feeling, an inexplicable sense of being unwelcome. The house seems to breathe hostility, its very essence steeped in malevolence. Would you dare enter Wymering Manor? Few people leave Wymering Manor unchanged. Its ghosts don't just haunt the building, they haunt you. The memories of what you've seen, heard, and felt linger long after you've left, following you like a shadow you can't shake. So, the question is, would you dare step inside? Would you risk a night in a place where the past refuses to stay buried? For now, the manor stands in eerie silence, its dark windows staring out like empty eyes, waiting for its next guest. But be warned, Wymering Manor doesn't just welcome visitors, it keeps them.